Now the people stick all kinds of labels on me and call me a guru, God man, and I have been trying very hard to free myself from the stigma of people calling me a guru, a spiritual man.
How did it get attached to you?
I don't know, the people that have been coming to see me all these years are only seekers. You see, anything I say naturally, they interpret it from their reference of framework, which is what it is. However hard I try to emphasize what I have come into has no religious content at all. And somehow it doesn't interest them at all. You see, they still think that that I fit into their framework.
Yeah.
You see, that is, it's not the individuals, but the traditional framework cannot tolerate anything outside of it. It has to make it itself.
Yeah, but I expect that's human because they probably ask you questions which are of fundamental importance, and the only people who so far hazarded guesses about it are people who dabble in spirituality, and other people haven't really, they've totally rejected it, like Bertrand Russell.
No, it's not that when I say that God is irrelevant, it does not mean that I'm an atheist or even an agnostic, you see. So if some of them still insist on calling me a God man, it's an insult to God and an insult to me, you see. So for centuries we have been using God as an instrument of power and used it to destroy life and property. I point out to many of the people that the thieves have not done any harm, they have not destroyed anything. Only those people who believe in God have destroyed life and property. So they sometimes throw this at me, what about communism? Communism, you see, I maintain that communism is a warty outgrowth of the religious thinking of man. But they destroyed a lot of people for a political ideology, not in the name of God, but when the church stood in the way of achieving their political goals, they had to destroy and suppress all the religious elements in the country. So they're still not satisfied, but we leave God to the theologians, let them go on discussing the ontological, teleological, cosmological proofs of the existence of God. But God at a particular time in the history of mankind was an extension of the same survival mechanism, probably. You know what I don't know, I see you are the one that can bring out something from me.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
There is a phone call for you from Bombay.
Yes.
Wait, Sharma.
That's Govinda, the secretary. Hello? Hello? Yes? I can't hear you. Can you speak louder? Yes, speaking. Yes. Yes. I'm not likely to come to Bombay. I'm going to Bangalore on Sunday. Huh? So will it be possible for you to call me after an hour? Yes, because I'm with a friend who is come to see me. Huh?
Gita?
Yes.
This is my wife, sir.
Yes.
Really, she likes
Huh?
coffee.
No, I don't understand you. Are not very clear. Will you please call me after an hour? No, don't do any such thing. You call me after an hour. Yes, please. Thank you.
He said
He
he
wants
wants
to come here.
Yeah.
No.
Even if you're in the bathroom, he wants to talk to you.
No. She's going. She's violent, it seems, and I must see you. She says, I don't want to see her. And you see, anything I will tell her, will have no effect on her. She has to have medicine. She doesn't want to take medicine. That is number one. And second thing is the mother, she is pushing her to do everything possible to go back to her career and to do everything possible to reduce her weight. You see, they are
This is
Arvind Bobby.
Bobby.
So there's not much that I can do. I did the best I could do to her when she was with me in Switzerland and in the United States. But suddenly she disappeared. I don't know, but what can I do? I'm not running a clinic for all these mentally disturbed people.
That's a great pity. She's such a beautiful
It's
woman.
such a beautiful woman.
I met her, had her home for dinner once.
I see.
Was charmed, and now is suddenly, I suppose,
Have you seen the photos there in the
Yeah.
press, boys?
heartbreaking.
Really heartbreaking. It's really.
Let
She
me
was
come
such a-
back to this subject, which where we.
So let me first make a very brief, I don't like to call it a statement, one or two, what's the word, you see, statements? Observations, you see. And what I have come to is something extraordinary for me, you know. I was born in this country, it was an accident. I was thrown into a very rich family, it was an accident, you see. It made it very easy for me to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. I was thrown into a very religious atmosphere, you see. That was also an accident, you see. My grandfather happened to be a member of the Theosophical Society. He knew the founders of the Theosophical Society, Blavatsky and Alcott, my mother's father. And then I knew all the second generation, third generation leaders of the Theosophical Society. And it may sound very strange to you, I lived with murderers, rapists, conmen, masterminds, spiritual teachers, godmen.
All in India?
Not only during the course of my 72 years of life, at least during the first 49 years of life. And I traveled all over the world. Practically every country in the world except China for some reason. I didn't go there, now I don't care at all. And I grew up in such an atmosphere, I found, see, the dichotomies, that the word and what they believed and what they said. My makeup was such a strange makeup. Genetically I was programmed that way to question everything ever since I was a little boy. By the time I was 7, God went out of my system and I never entered the temple afterwards. Afterwards, I realized that, you see, the interest in enlightenment, interest in God moksha, liberation, freedom, and what Krishnamurti talked about, the transformation, radical transformation, mutation of mind, etc. All is the extension of the same thing, variations of the same thing. So I actually and factually I did not in any way free myself from the whole idea of God, but I am pursuing the same thing on a different level, which is nothing but an extension of the same pleasure movement, I consider that. But then I switched over to the Western science, philosophies, and the whole thing. See, I got involved with the Theosophical Society because of my background. I became a very active participant. By the time I was 24, I was elected as the Joint Secretary of the Theosophical Society in India, national lecturer, international lecturer. But this question, you see, always bothered me, intrigued me. So I cannot call all these people hypocrites. What is wrong with what they believe in? Why there is this dichotomy in their lives? Maybe the source may be wrong, you see. All the teachers of mankind, particularly the spiritual teachers of mankind, con themselves and con the whole of mankind. I had to find out for myself. I had no way of finding out anything for myself. As long as I depended upon somebody, I remained helpless, you know. So I found that, you see, whatever I wanted was what they wanted me to want. Whatever I thought whatever they wanted me to think. You see, there was no way out, you see, of this, you know. It went on and went on and on and on. Somewhere along the line, something hit me that there is nothing there to be transformed, nothing there to be changed. There is no mind there. There is no self to realize. What the hell have I been doing? See, that spark hit me like the shaft of a lightning, you see. Or, you see, an earthquake shattered the whole thing and destroyed everything that was there. All the cultural input, you see, that freed me in a very strange way. Everything every man thought, felt and experienced before. In a sort of way, destroyed totally the mind, which is nothing but the totality of man's experiences and thoughts, and even the identity. You see, identity is nothing but a cultural input there. So there was nothing there to be free from, you know. What I was left with is something extraordinary here, the tremendous living organism, pulsating with life, freed from, you see, the stranglehold of the whole culture, you know. So I tried to express it. The only people I had around me was all the Krishnamurti freaks or Rajneesh divorcees, those who were completely not totally disillusioned with their gurus, you know, only that kind of people I had around me. And so everything I said, they interpreted in terms of their religious thinking. You are also an enlightened man. For some reason, we don't understand why you are giving expression to this in this strange way. What you say is bad enough, how you say it is worse. That was there. But yet they could not brush me aside. And then you see, somewhere along the line, I realized that I am an active, direct participant, you see, in this kind of a thing. People interpreting what I am saying in the religious terms. And so maybe I should find some way, you see, some medium through which I can express myself. And people said suddenly, why have you gone public? You see, I never went out of the place, never gave lectures, never bothered even to accept the invitations of the televisions in the United States. So suddenly I decided maybe I should use that medium to express myself. You see, I don't even have the impetus to express myself, and I need you to express myself, you see. So you may say that I'm using you to express myself, but that doesn't matter. So let me try, you see, these people who are just entertainers, you know, who want to entertain themselves, and talk to the unseen public. Maybe it will hit somebody somewhere, and it will help him to understand, you see, what the actual situation is. So that's the reason why, you see, I suddenly decided to go on several talk shows in the United States, and very popular radio interviews, and then very recently I gave an interview to San Francisco Chronicle, and you may have heard of the magazine Omni, and trying to find out some way I can express myself. But you see, they ask me why you are doing that. Do you still feel that you have a message for mankind? I don't have any message for mankind at all. But why am I breathing? You see, this is the only reality I have. And let me try to express myself and point out the situation in which we find ourselves today. And so that's the only reason why I see people and talk to them. And every time I have a chance, I go on the television and give an interview. Last time when I was here, you see, Mr. Rajiv Mehrotra interviewed me on the Indian television. And so what I want to say to anybody who is interested in this, somewhere along the line, the human consciousness felt this self-consciousness. When I use the word self, you see, I don't mean that there is a self there, that there is a center there. That separated him from the totality of things, you see. And he was a frightened man. So he turned everything, you see, into something uncontrollable, into some divine cosmic thing, and worshipped it. It was in that frame of mind, quote unquote, he created God. He created, see, the whole rest of it. And culture is responsible for that. You see, I maintain that all the political institutions, all the political ideologies we have today are the outgrowths of the same religious thinking of man. You see. So, all the spiritual teachers in a way are responsible for the tragedy of mankind. We have come to a point where we have to ask different kind of questions and find out if there is anything that we can do to stop, you see, the way the whole world is moving. If the world has to, or the mankind, humanity has to free itself from the chaos of its own making, there must be some other way that man can come up with, you see, and see what he can do. As I see it, the whole thing is heading in a direction where there is no way that we can stop it or reverse the whole things. We are doomed, as it were. And why is this concern to talk to somebody? Why is it that I'm not interested in seeing really saving anything. Nobody has asked me to save. You see, as a matter of fact, I very strongly feel that the world has to be saved from all the saviors of mankind, you know. So individually there seems to be nothing that we can do to change anything, see, to alter anything, to reverse anything. And collectively means what, you see. So the task that is facing us is that we have unfortunately placed these politicians in the seat of power. The political consciousness is all that we are left with. And if religious people are still trying, you see, to talk in terms of reviving this, that and the other cultural heritage of India, the Ramarajya, and if politicians use that is only to win, you see, the elections and win the people over to them. But if we think in terms of, you see, reviving something that is dead, we don't have any future to think of, you see. So that is why when people ask me, what do you think of Gorbachev? Gorbachev is a traitor to the cause of communism. Millions and millions of people have died for the cause of communism. And if he is looking to the West for the solutions of the problems, the failure of communism, something is wrong. You see, the answers have to be found within that framework and not look to the West, which is in no better condition to offer him anything except, you see, sell McDonald's or, Kentucky Fried Chicken or sell organically grown potatoes to make chips there. In Russia, actually, it is not our ideas of freedom, ideas of humanity that changed there. It was Pepsi-Cola that conquered Russia. And it was Coca-Cola that had a tremendous impact on China. But these people don't want to listen to this kind of a thing. So, what do we do in this given situation? I sing my song and go. So if we do not do something, what I am trying to say is that thought has a tremendous control, you see, over us. You see, thought in its birth, in its content, in its expression, and in its action is fascist. So it wants to control everything there. And thought is not the instrument that will help us to solve the problems that we have created. We only can ask questions and find out if there are any answers individually. See, collectively means, you see, I have one idea, you have another idea. There is going to be a battle between those things. So, the identity that we have created, that the culture has created in us, is the most important factor which we have to consider, you see. So, if we continue to give importance to the identity, which is the product of culture, we are going to end up in an Alzheimer's disease. You see, we are putting memory to use, the brain to use for which it is not intended, you know. So memory does not mean remembering what we studied there. Now computers will do a better job, calculators will do a better job. The constant maintenance of our identity is possible only through the constant use of memory. That is wearing out this human organism and will leave us with very little energy. And so we will not be able to deal with the problems of the world. And so ultimately, now you know, you must have read the statistics published recently in the American magazines. 1 in 3 in the 60 age group is affected by the Alzheimer's disease. That means total, complete destruction of mind and identity. In the 80 group, 1 in 2. And 600,000 people in England are affected by this. Out of them, there are 2 Nobel Prize winners, hundreds and thousands of people in Germany. We don't have any record of these people who are affected by that disease, you see. So that may be the nature's way of turning us all into vegetables and recreate something. You know, I'm hazarding is an opinion of mine which is as ridiculous as the opinion of anybody. I have said my piece and then you ask.
No, I go along with you on most of what you've said. But there still remains the demolition job, the clearing of the cobwebs. I'm all on your side because they have these purveyors of religion and government have really
They are doing
found
more
the atmosphere.
harm than good. Every time a God man appears on the scene, he is adding momentum,
Yeah.
and we are slowly moving in the direction of destroying ourselves.
I agree with it.
Yes.
There's
Not that we all become anti-God or destroy the temples, burn this. You see, when I talk of a total anarchy, it is a state of being, it's not a state of doing at all. See, there is no action there. So maybe out of that something new. You see, now they are talking of this. Helen, you heard that of the volcano there on the west coast of the United States, new forms of life are springing. So something like that, maybe you see something new will spring. You see, not that I am concerned about the future of mankind. If humanity goes, I go with it. You see, and who has given me the mandate to save mankind? I am part of this. You see, look here. See the way we are going. If you are interested, it is he who is talking of changing the world. As far as I am concerned, I am in perfect harmony with the world exactly the way it is. You see, I am not in conflict. See, so it cannot be anything different. But you are the guys who want to change the whole thing into a better world, into a happier world. I don't see how it is possible for us to create peace through war. I don't see any possibility there, you see. So these are all the questions which individuals have to ask for themselves and ask questions which have never been asked before, because all the questions which we are asking are born out of the answers we already have. So the only way out for all these people is go back to the great heritage of India. If we are the products of the great heritage of India, we cannot be proud of the great heritage of India. If this is what we have done, if we are what we are, what is there to be proud of the great heritage of India? Why do you want us to go back, revive something which has failed us, you see? So what do we do in such a situation? What is the answer? Maybe you have an answer, he has an answer, he has an answer. I am asking them, you see, since you are the ones that are trying to bring about a change in you, there is nothing there to be changed. As long as you are interested in bringing about a change in you, you talk in terms of bringing about a change in you. So once you are freed from the demand to bring about any change in you, the demand to bring about a change in the world also comes to an end. So this is what I do when people come. I don't sit on a platform and harangue and say that, you see, I have the one and the only revolution. Only one and the only revolution is nothing but a bogus revolution. All revolutions are nothing but revaluation of our value systems. We replace one system with another system. But basically it is not much different from the other systems. So
There still remains this hankering to know. I reject God. I am agnostic. Yet I don't have the answer. Whenever the simple question, what's all this about? Why are we here? What will happen to us when we die? But my only answer is I don't know. But now that doesn't satisfy me. And that's why they turn to people like you and say,
they come here and I say, go back to your gurus, they will give you some comfort. Stay.
But they spin yarns which don't make sense to a rational human being.
But if they don't want to solve their problems, what is it that I can do?
It's not a problem. It's a simple question of wanting to know the way of the beginning, the purpose and the
Don't you
how.
think that is really the problem? Wanting to know wanting to know is the one that has created this identity in us.
We can't suppress it.
No, I'm not asking to suppress it. That may not be the answer for it. Knowing more and more is only strengthening and fortifying the very thing which has not helped us to solve the problem individually or collectively. I'm only asking that question. You see, knowing is not something mysterious, mystical. To know that this is a chair, you see, we have to accept the reality of the world as it is imposed on us to function sanely and intelligently. Although it is questionable, it's functional in its way.
No, knowing a concrete object is one thing. The question as posed by Adi Shankara earlier, where do we come from? In very simple language. I do.
No, but that question is irrelevant to me because it doesn't in any way help us to understand the situation we find ourselves in. Because you see, that movement of thought is interested in establishing a relationship between the cause and effect.
Would you dismiss the question?
I would dismiss the question because the question is there because of the assumption that there is a cause for everything. See, to me, every event is an independent event. A friend of mine, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, one of the directors, he has signed a contract with Penguins, Penguins, I think, to write a biography of his friend Krishnamurti. I said, there is no story to tell. I am telling that whatever has happened to me is acausal. Whatever has happened to me has happened despite everything I did. So all those events are independent events, and we would like to link them up all together and create a story, or create some philosophical structure out of that and say, see, every event in your life is not an accident as you put it, but some destiny there is shaping your events and shaping your life. So I don't see that that is the way we are functioning. So this very demand to know the cause of our own origins or the cause of the origin of the world is a very ideal question for which the answers, however interesting they may be, are of no importance to us to deal with the problems of living.
Would you say the same about the question about after death? What happens? What does it mean to die? What does it
Because
mean?
we do not want to come to terms with the fact that we have lived 70, 80 years of life. We have achieved all this. With death, is that all coming to an end? So, you see, our not wanting to accept the fact that that is the end, we project beyond and create all kinds of fantasies. So my answer to that question is, what do you think is there now, which will continue after the dissolution of this body? As far as the body is concerned, it has neither the birth nor death. See, what we call death is nothing but a reshuffling of the atoms. And this reshuffling of atoms take place for the simple reason that the level of energy in this universe has to be maintained. If for some any reason there is a lowering of the level of energy, millions and millions of people will be wiped out, either through catastrophic events we call it, nothing catastrophic there. You see, earthquake is as much a necessity, as much a part of, you see, this planetary activity as anything else, but it is no comfort to us. You see, we have lost our properties, we have lost our near and dear ones. The hurricane Hugo destroyed these large sections of North Carolina, but what is its place in the scheme of things we really don't know. You see, so to try to find out the answers for those questions is nothing but a dialectical thinking about thinking itself. It is not going to help to solve the problems which we are facing today.
I concede that, but yet they may be anchoring to find out, because one's not willing to accept that this is a full stop.
Yes, that's our unwillingness to accept that that is the end. Because there is no end for this, there is no beginning and there is no end. That's not the way the things are happening in nature. Everything that is born is destroyed. See, birth and death is a simultaneous process. You know, when once the continuity of thought or the demand to experience the same thing over and over and over again, to maintain what we call the identity is not there, the way the thought is taking its birth and then you see dissolving itself into the form of energy, that is the way the life is. It's not that I have a special insight into the nature's laws or any such thing, but whatever we discover, the nature's